This is a work of fiction. Any resemblance to real persons, living or dead, is purely coincidental, while all reference to locations, historical events, and climatic conditions are real.
Lawyer Salgado will return from Johannesburg on Wednesday. Letizia called the office and made an appointment for that day, leaving a false name with a secretary. I'm eager to meet Tina again. I no longer think about the gas lords of Cabo Delgado, no longer think about kidnappings. I bet she is simply with her father. Maybe she went to Johannesburg with him on a business trip. It's an extremely hot Sunday. Edison invited me to lunch at his house in the Makuti neighborhood. Makuti is a very poor neighborhood in Beira with enormous difficulties. The Mudar project that Fedri, Letizia and Edison himself work on deals with urban redevelopment in the barrio, or bairro as it's called in Portuguese. In the last 5 years, the population of Makuti has doubled from 15,000 to 30,000 people. This used to be an area of mashamba, that is, cultivated fields and vegetable gardens. The neighborhood secretary tells us the population increases and so do the problems as he accompanies us on a visit among the tin shacks and children playing in the dust. Like the documentaries our teachers showed us in elementary school, but I'm here today and nothing seems to have changed. I smell the dust mixed with ash. There's a boy wearing a t-shirt with the words, "Future Boss." There are no schools here, no hospitals, but above all there's no water. It's like the lyrics in Azagaya's songs. More than half of the families living here have to get water from a small spring in the eastern part of the neighborhood. The problem is that every time it rains, the spring is submerged by mud and rain, creating a risk of contamination. Makuti was one of the neighborhoods most affected in 2019 by Cyclone Idai. Idai? Never heard of it. Here it's remembered as a watershed moment, as the event that forever disrupted the climatic balance of the area.
Mozambique's port city of Beira bore the brunt of Cyclone Idai. This area used
No one had ever witnessed the wind blow at 200 kilometers an hour. 1,000 people died. 100,000 were displaced. Entire parts of the city were left without electricity or food for weeks. The Beira hospital with its roof torn off by the gusts of wind. The neighborhood secretary continues. All these shacks you see here, imagine these tin roofs being carried around by the wind with a force never seen before. These sheets of metal had been turned into razor blades by the wind. I saw people cut in half or blown by the wind hundreds of kilometers away. Fathers clinging with their nails to the roof of their house being swept away by the cyclone. 50% of the schools in the city still have their roofs torn off. Not to mention the agricultural district of Buzi, completely devastated. Beira is located at the mouth of the Pongwe River and was the area most affected by Idai. The coast is higher here than in the Makuti area, which is why drainage is so difficult. Makuti is divided into two, the formal part, built in colonial times, and the informal part, a cluster of makeshift buildings with bumpy, impassable streets. Garbage trucks can't enter Makuti. The people of Makuti throw everything into the canals, which constantly get clogged. The water stagnates for days, increasing the risk of disease. If the hunter kills the elephant, then to drag it away, he needs help. He needs the whole village. The neighborhood secretary keeps repeating this phrase to me. Everyone's help is needed, that of the entire village. Makuti lacks sewers, lacks everything. Not prepared for this. I have no answer. Letizia explains to me that with Mudar, they're trying to do precisely what the story of the hunter and the elephant says. The municipality of Beira, the province of Trento, its university, the Centre for International Cooperation, the Zambezi University, the CAM and the IFAPA have collaborated to create a network and a platform for discussion. We can't just come here, spend a mountain of money, build sewers, and then think the situation can last and manage itself. With Mudar, we are a hinge, a platform for change. Research, scientific knowledge must be introduced and produce territorial development. We are trying to educate the municipality, its officials, to make the people of Makuti of Beira take control of their own destiny. It's a complicated, very frustrating path because we have tons of bureaucracy, while the problems here are real. After Idai in 2021, there was also Cyclone Eloise. Climate change has arrived in all its brutality. Words are not enough to describe what it means to see your house swept away by the wind blowing at 200 kilometers an hour. These areas, these families are fragile. But political vision is equally fragile if we can't mudar, change the way of thinking and actions regarding the future of this place. Letizia becomes red in the face and her eyes water. I am a person who has always avoided these issues out of laziness and cowardice. For me, this is a slap in the face. People like her, like Fedri, the new generation like Edilson, are necessary for the future. But it's like challenging a gigantic monster with a toothpick. How can you think of winning against the giants of the gas extraction companies up north? Against those who launder money, destroy the land, the environment, and the economy? But above all, have you seen the people on the streets, at parties, or on social media? Have you seen their attitude? No matter where you are, the world seems to be going in the same direction all over the world. They all think, we all think, like so many little rappers, like so many little gangsters. We come from nothing, and we want to take everything regardless, relying only on ourselves and with no respect for others. I'm not here to preach, but that thing called ownership, the thirst for money and power, has entered so deeply under our skin, into the blood of people, that kids don't even realize. It's capitalism without alternatives. It's marketing winning over real life. Everyone thinks only and exclusively in one dimension. Me. There's nothing left. Letizia and Edilson burst into laughter. Save some of that passion for the game. We have lunch at Edilson's house, and everything is simply sweet. Carapo fish with coconut and peanut flour cooked by his sister. A simple delight. Today is an important day for the city. The local football team, Ferroviario da Beira, is on the verge of winning the championship. It's the last day. Ferroviario has tied for first place with Nampula and Black Bulls of Maputo. There are 3 teams vying for victory in the top national division. For Ferroviario da Beira, due to direct matches, they just need to win regardless of the result. Edilson and I arrive at the stadium almost 2 hours before kickoff. We have to make sure we don't run out of tickets. But first, we stop to place a bet on the game. Everyone's excited. There are a lot of people, and the stands are filling up quickly. An hour later, the stadium is packed. There are women and children wandering around with peanuts, dried fruits, and drinks in baskets they carry on their heads. Even the mayor is here. In the stands, people are warmed up and starting to crowd in. The opposite stands under the scorching sun are filled with Vilanculo fans of the opposing team. Despite the cheering, the game isn't picking up. I'm no expert, but everyone on the pitch seems very sloppy and imprecise to me. Portuguese coach Helder Duarte keeps yelling and throwing his arms up in the air. Besides him, I'm the only white person in the whole stadium. At the 24th minute, our opponents hit the post on a free kick from Betinho. The stadium trembles. If we lose the championship. Edison gave me a green Ferroviario jersey. He tells me his brother played for the first team about 10 years ago. Finally, at the 71st minute, Amadou heads the ball into the net from a corner kick. Madness. After the game, fans storm the field and the army has to intervene with rifles to get everyone back in place. I get nervous as soon as I see a man in uniform with a submachine gun, but here, no one seems to pay much attention. Mozambique is still the only country in the world with a Kalashnikov as an icon depicted on its flag. Finally, the team lifts the trophy. We head to celebrate with the whole team at the Solange Beach Club. I think of Tina. I wish she were here celebrating with me. I imagine I'll see her soon, go on a trip together, visit the country, and then the whole of South Africa. My name is Damiano. I'm 26, and I bet everything will be resolved soon. That everything is about to be fixed. But things are about to take another unexpected turn.
Kill Me Now. Episode 8. The Cyclone.
April 15th. Lawyer Patricio Salgado sits in his office, surrounded by solid wood and black leather. He's a towering figure. He's wearing a jacket and tie. I can hear him breathing. His breath is heavy. As he speaks, he looks straight into my eyes, twirling a pen between his fingers. A stack of legal folders sits neatly arranged by colour on the table. I let him know the secretary didn't want to allow us in, but he waved his massive hand, indicating everything's okay, there's nothing to worry about, now that the situation is completely under his control. It feels like a scene from The Godfather. He asks me a series of questions with no particular point. Where I come from, what studies I've pursued, what type of cuisine interests me. The atmosphere grows increasingly slow, formal, melancholic, and unreal. I answer irritated in rapid-fire monosyllables. I'm sorry, but I didn't come here to meet my father-in-law. I would be happy to meet Lawyer Salgado another time. Now, I want to know where Tina is. I want to know why she hasn't answered the phone for nearly 50 days. That's what I'd like to know too, Lawyer Salgado tells me. Unfortunately, Tina can't give us any answers right now. She can't respond to either me or you. If she had listened to me, perhaps she wouldn't find herself in this situation. I don't like it. I don't like the way Salgado behaves. I don't like the smell of his cologne. It's so strong it overwhelms the entire room. What does he mean? Where is your daughter? Where are you hiding her? I'm standing up, fists on the desk. But Patricio Salgado remains composed. I'll take you to her now, he says before placing a hand on my shoulder. We get into his car, a Raptor Ranger with tinted windows. The journey is brief, just a couple of minutes, and we arrive. The black pickup truck enters a gate guarded by men in uniform holding AK-47s. I understand where we are only when I see the white coats and nurses bustling. It's not a hospital. We're in a private clinic. It seems recently opened. Everything is brand new. Ponta Luz Private Clinic. Tina is in a room on the second floor, being kept alive by a ventilator. What happened to her? What are all those tubes for? This time her father grabs me by my elbow. We don't know what happened, son. She has just arrived in Beira. They found her like this on the road leading to the Golden Peacock Hotel. How long has she been like this? Dr. Molina, a Cuban in his 30s wearing aviator glasses, speaks by the door. Tina has been here for 3 weeks. She arrived with various traumas and a punctured lung. We are keeping her in a pharmacological coma, and she has never regained consciousness to this day. She was here the whole time. As I searched for her in every corner of Maputo, while I travelled around the country, she has been here all this time. I ask to be left alone with Tina. They all leave. Dr. Molina, Salgado, Letizia, Edelson. The only one left in the room with me is a nurse. I want to cry, but I'm too shocked and angry to command my body to make any movement. I'm short of breath. My brain is lacking oxygen. Tina is sleeping, lots of tubes attached. She's still, but fighting. I try to make sense of everything that has happened to me so far, but I don't even know where to start. I remain like that for 20 minutes, holding her hand without saying a word. Who was with her that night? What happened to her? Who were the people who followed me as soon as I landed in Maputo? Lawyer Salgado and I need to have a long chat. At the entrance of the Beira Yacht Club, there are bouncers. They all lower their heads when the massive figure of Lawyer Salgado appears. To enter, you have to pay 50 meticais. Via a convoluted mechanism, this amount is then refunded and deducted from the bill if the customer decides to stay for dinner. At the table, Edelson, Letizia, and me. Salgado brought Leila, his eldest daughter. We sit on the terrace, facing the sea, ordering shrimp and prosecco. The shrimp is exceptional. I think of Raul of Rigoletto, of my previous life. I wonder what it's like to work in the kitchen at the yacht club. Next to us there's a German guy in his 60s. He's completely drunk and speaks loudly in English with his Mozambique girlfriend. A few tables away, a group of Indian businessmen is eating shrimp and fresh crab. There's a band playing. Edison tells me the girl is singing in Shangana, a Bantu dialect spoken in the south. Salgado has enormous fingers. In his hands, the cutlery looks tiny. He tells us about when he arrived in Beira many years ago with his first wife and his eldest daughter, Leila. Salgado remarried and had Tina with his second wife. The complications, arguments and problems started when Tina's mother died 10 years ago in a crash. Since then, relations with his younger daughter have always been complicated. I am a rich and powerful man, a man who has succeeded in life, but my daughter Tina has always shown contempt for everything I do. When she left for Europe, I knew I was losing her, and I was worried about it. Today's girls have no respect. They don't know the value of work, of family. Tina is attracted to the world of protest, of sexual freedom, but it's all nonsense. Salgado hasn't touched the food on his plate yet. When I found out she was back, it's true, I thought of sending someone to Maputo, to bring her here. Enough with all that nonsense. There are excellent law faculties in South Africa too, just over an hour's flight from Beira. Europe isn't for her, con todo respeto. Tina hadn't called or answered my calls for months. I heard she intended to return for that musician's funeral, but I couldn't find her. Yes, I sent someone to Maputo, but Tina was already gone. Then on the morning of March the 23rd, I was called by a senior doctor at Beira Central Hospital. That night, a nurse returning from her shift found Tina in a desperate condition in the street. She had no money, no documents. Whoever put her in such a state is going to regret it. Salgado now unfolds the napkin and places it on his knees before delving into the shrimp. I watch him carefully as I try to understand what father would do such a thing to his daughter. And what for? Just to keep her by his side against her will? I ask him what he thinks about the kidnapping. If he thinks someone tried kidnapping Tina, considering the whole gas business up in Cabo Delgado and the huge interests behind gas extraction. Everything's been at a standstill for months, Salgado replies. They were supposed to start the turbines, but everything's stalled. It's true. Everyone knows I represent the main stakeholders in the sector. I work with all the gas multinationals, but whoever did this didn't want to just kidnap Tina. They wanted to get rid of her. I ask about the casino. Why was his name on the register that night? The night Tina disappeared. Salgado stops playing with the shrimp, sets his glass down, and pierces me with his gaze. I am lawyer Patricio Salgado, owner of the Salgado law firm. Whenever and wherever I or anyone from my family sets foot in this city, whether here at the yacht club, at the casino, at the Golden Peacock, there's an open tab in my name. To be even clearer, the night of March 22nd, I was at a convention out of town. There are images, photographs, even a video of my speech. That name, my name on the register, means Tina was at the Golden Peacock Casino, that she registered with my name, that she played with my money. As always, nothing new. My daughters roam the city, eat, drink, play, and then put everything on Daddy's tab. I don't know. I can't make a judgment. I can't know whether Salgado is telling the truth. He seems like a dangerous animal, one that dominates, one that's potentially lethal. But I can't see him capable of reducing his daughter to that state. Only Tina knows what really happened that night. Only she can tell us how things really went. But the secret of that night lies with her in the hospital bed. Until she's out of danger, we won't know the truth. I couldn't sleep last night. The city was battered by an extremely violent storm. I've never experienced such a powerful tempest. Trees bending like feathers and thunder which sets car alarms off. The power goes out throughout the Pontager neighborhood and only returns after 3 hours. In the morning, the city is a damp puddle. I go to Beira Central Hospital with Edelson. We're looking for the person who found Tina in a critical condition on the road near the Golden Peacock on the night of March 22nd. The nurse's name is Sonia, and she's from Pistoia, Italy. She has been working here in Beira since 2018. She was the one who called the taxi and brought Tina here urgently. According to her, whoever left Tina in that state thought they had killed her. She was struggling to breathe because of the punctured lung and was covered in blood. Believe me, she repeats. They didn't want to rob or kidnap her. They wanted to kill her. I return to the clinic in the afternoon. Tina is still there, attached to all those tubes. The nurse checks the IV drip, then leaves the room just as Dr. Molina enters. He says her condition is still critical. I don't know who did this to you, baby, but we'll find them. You can bet on it. The dice say the same. Now you focus on getting better. All the answers, all the evidence, the testimonies, they all lie with you, in this hospital bed.
Kill Me Now is a podcast produced by O Suono Mio and funded by the European project Mudar. From an idea by Emanuele Lapiana and Gianluca Taraborelli. Narrated by Dylan Ayers. The voice of Tina is by Joana Ferreira Martins. Written by Gianluca Taraborelli. The soundscapes are by Emanuele and Tommaso Lapiana. Mixing and post-production are by Alessandro Beso. The illustration is by Federico Tramonte. Proofreading and coordination by Sandra Endrizzi, Paolo Ghisu, and Diletta Carloni. The original soundtrack and direction are by Emanuele Lapiana. Recorded by Joey Tassello at Air Studio. Special thanks go to all the staff of the CCI in Trento: Cristina Viola, Alcidio Matavel Pires, Vincente Cossa, Jenny Capuano, Nene Mulciande Jr., Amarildo Ajasse, Fernando Francisco Nyametukwa, and the CAM in Beira, who assisted us in the production in Mozambique and Italy. To learn more about the Mudar project, follow at Mudar Beira on Instagram and Facebook, or visit www.mudarbeira.org. Kill Me Now is available in Italian, Portuguese, and English. If you liked it, tell someone.